Every legend has a moment, the second where an ordinary person becomes unforgettable. For Edward of Woodstock, that moment was August 26, 1346. He was surrounded by French knights who wanted him dead. He'd been thrown from his horse, beaten to the ground, and he had two choices: stay down or get up. He got up. This is the story of England's greatest warrior who never wore the crown. The man who captured a king, broke an empire, and died before he could rule anything. Let's go back to the beginning. June 15th, 1330. Edward is born into a kingdom in chaos. His grandfather, Edward II, was just deposed by his own wife and her lover. His father, Edward III, became king at 14, but he was a puppet, a figurehead. The real power, his mother, Isabella, and her lover, Roger Mortimer. They ran England like a personal bank account, and they made one fatal mistake. They let Edward III have a son. Because the moment that baby arrived, everything changed. A king without an heir is vulnerable. A king with one? He's got something to fight for. On October 19th, 1330, Edward III raids Nottingham Castle, captures Mortimer, has him executed 6 weeks later, locks his mother away from politics forever. The puppet cuts his strings. And he immediately looks north, to Scotland, where his father had been humiliated at Bannockburn in 1314. He wants revenge. He wants glory. And he needs someone to help him get it. Enter his son. Edward's childhood was a contradiction. He had a personal tailor, finest silk clothes, feasts that lasted days. His father wanted him to know royalty. But he also had armor at 7, tournaments at 13. Edward III wasn't raising a courtier. He was forging a weapon, a prince who could fight beside him, win beside him, maybe, just maybe, conquer beside him. Because by 1337, England had a problem. France was eating their continental lands piece by piece. Gascony, England's last major holding in France, was threatened. And the French king, Philip VI, had something Edward III wanted: the French throne itself. When King Charles IV died without a son in 1328, the French nobility chose Philip of Valois. They ignored Edward III's claim through his mother. At first, Edward let it go. He had Scotland to deal with. But by 1340, he publicly claims the crown. The 100 Years' War begins. Not just over land, over identity. Over whether England's king is also France's king. And Edward of Woodstock, now 16, now Prince of Wales, now knighted on a beach in Normandy, is about to be thrown into the bloodiest conflict Europe has seen in centuries. The 1346 campaign was Edward III's gamble. Invade Normandy, pillage, burn, draw the French into a battle they couldn't refuse, and give his son the vanguard, the most dangerous position. At Caen, the prince proves himself immediately. He doesn't just command from the rear. He fights in the streets, takes the town, and then the army marches east, leaving destruction in their wake. But here's the thing about medieval warfare. You can burn every village between Normandy and Calais. You can steal every cow, sack every church. But if the French king won't fight, you've got nothing. Philip VI keeps retreating. Edward III is burning money, burning supplies, burning patience. Until August 24th, when the English cross the River Somme and find high ground between two villages, Crécy, Woodstock, a ridge, and behind them, the setting sun. The French outnumber them almost 2 to 1. But numbers aren't everything. The English are rested, positioned, They've got longbows that can pierce plate armor at 200 yards. And they've got something the French don't. A 16-year-old boy who doesn't know he's supposed to be scared. The French send Genoese crossbowmen first. They march into range. The English longbows sing. The crossbowmen break. And then the French cavalry, impatient, arrogant, charges through their own allies. Imagine that, your own cavalry killing you to get at the enemy. The French charge becomes a massacre. Wave after wave crashes against English arrows and English discipline. But the real attack comes at dusk. The French main force hits the prince's wing, and it almost breaks. He's unhorsed, concussed. For a moment, he's helpless. A French soldier nearly ends the future of England right there in the mud. But he rises. Somehow, concussed and 16 and terrified, he rises. And his men see it. The boy who won't stay down. They fight harder. They push the French back. By morning, it's over. English casualties, under 300. French casualties, thousands, including Philip's own brother, including the King of Bohemia. And here's the moment that defines Edward's legend. He finds King John of Bohemia, blind in life, dead in glory, surrounded by the men who refuse to leave him. Edward takes John's emblem, 3 white feathers, makes it his own, not as a trophy, as a tribute. Because chivalry wasn't just about winning, it was about honoring the worthy dead. You still see those feathers today, on the Prince of Wales's crest, on Welsh rugby jerseys, on regimental badges, a 680-year-old legacy from a battlefield in France. After Crécy, Edward lays siege to Calais. It takes 11 months. 11 months of digging, starving, waiting. But Calais falls in August 1347. England finally has a strategic foothold in France. The father and son return to England as heroes, the greatest military partnership in English history. But waiting for them is something no army can fight: the Black Death. 1348. It kills a third of Europe. It kills the prince's own sister, Joan, in September. It touches everyone, everything. But Edward III does something remarkable in the plague year. He creates the Order of the Garter, 26 knights chosen not for rank, but for valor. The prince helps select them. It's still England's highest chivalric honor today. By 1355, the prince is restless. The truce with France is fraying. And in Gascony, England's last southern holding, the French are pushing again. The prince is made the king's lieutenant in Gascony. Basically, he's viceroy. He can raise armies, tax, judge, punish. At 25, he rules a province. His mission? A chevauchée, a plundering raid deep into French territory. Burn everything, steal everything, make the French hurt so badly they can't wage war. For 2 months, the prince marches 250 miles, through Armagnac's lands, through Languedoc. They reach Carcassonne, Narbonne. They're within sight of the Mediterranean when they turn back. The Count of Armagnac, who'd refused battle, finally leaves his fortified city. Too late. The prince is gone. And Gascon lords who'd sided with France, they're switching sides, because Armagnac couldn't protect them. This is the prince at his peak, victorious, generous, feared by enemies, loved by friends. But the best and worst is yet to come. King John II makes a mistake. He arrests nobles at a dinner party. Heir in prison. Normandy explodes. Edward III sees his chance. Lancaster hits Normandy. The prince is supposed to march north, join him, strike at the Count of Poitiers. But Armagnac raids Gascony again. The prince has to leave 2,000 men behind to defend his base. He starts late. He starts short. And as he nears the Loire River, he realizes he's walking into a trap. Lancaster's gone.
the rivers impassable, and King John, who the prince outmaneuvered in 1355, has learned. He's assembled an army twice the size of the prince's, and he's coming south, 70 miles from safety, 20 miles from destruction. The prince orders retreat, but the French are faster. They cut across his line of march. They're west of him now, near Poitiers. A ridge, woods, wagon fort. It's not where he wants to fight, but it's what he's got.
King John has over 20,000 men. The prince has 7,000. The French have learned from Crécy. Their horses have better armor. They're not going to charge recklessly. So the prince gives them what they expect. He moves his baggage carts south, like he's running. The French take the bait. The cavalry charges, and it works. Almost. The French horses are better armored. Some reach the English line. The fighting is hand-to-hand. Brutal. For 2 hours they bleed each other in the hedgerows. Then King John's own division advances, fresh troops. The prince's men are exhausted. It looks like the end. But the prince has one move left, a surprise cavalry charge, straight at the French center, while a flanking force hits their left. It's chaos, melee. The French line buckles. The Gascon reserve crashes into their flank. Panic spreads. And in the center, King John, surrounded, fighting like a lion, is overwhelmed. Captured. The King of France. Taken by a 26-year-old prince who started the day outnumbered 2-1. And then, the moment that defines chivalry. The prince serves his prisoner dinner, praises his bravery, treats him not as a defeated enemy, but as a worthy opponent. This is the pinnacle, the greatest English victory since Hastings. The prince returns to Bordeaux in triumph. Then England. London goes wild. A 2-year truce follows. The prince and his royal prisoner sail to England. For a moment, it seems like England might actually win this war. The Treaty of London, May 1358. John II agrees to pay 4 million crowns, an impossible sum, for his release. He recognizes Edward as sovereign of Aquitaine. In return, Edward renounces his claim to the French throne. But the French government rejects it. They'd rather keep John prisoner in England than pay. The war continues. In 1359, father and son march on Reims. They fail to take the city. Winter sets in. Negotiations resume. The Treaty of Bretigny, 1360. Edward gets huge territories, but he gives up the French crown claim forever. It's a compromise. Neither side is fully satisfied. And in the midst of all this, the prince marries Joan of Kent, his cousin. 33, beautiful, twice widowed. They seem happy. In January 1365, they have a son, Edward. Then he's made Prince of Aquitaine, his own domain, his own court. He arrives in June 1367 with his household, 600 soldiers, and big plans. At first, Aquitaine loves him. He's generous, grand feasts, open-handed with gifts. He listens to grievances, reduces lawlessness. He's everything a medieval lord should be. But there's a problem. The prince is spending like he's got infinite money, and he doesn't. The Black Death changed everything. Labor is expensive. Soldiers demand higher wages. Loyalty has a price, and that price keeps rising. In January 1367, a second son, Richard. The family is complete. But while the prince plays lord in Aquitaine, France has a new king, Charles V. Not a warrior like his father, but smart, patient. He saves money, builds alliances, waits for the prince to make a mistake. That mistake comes from Spain, Pedro of Castile. They called him Pedro the Cruel, excommunicated by the church, a tyrant, but also England's ally. And now he's been thrown off his throne by Enrique of Trastamara, with French backing. The prince's advisors are divided. Pedro's a monster. Helping him will cost a fortune. But if Castile becomes a French ally, England is surrounded. Edward agrees, reluctantly. Pedro swears to reform, to pay back the costs. Everyone knows he's lying, but the strategic necessity is clear. In January 1367, the prince leaves his newborn son and marches south, 6,000 men. Pyrenees in winter. The crossing is brutal. Snow, cold. But they make it. By February 23rd, they're in Navarre. March 25th, ambush near Vitoria. Hundreds dead. The prince, who's never really lost before, is shaken. But he adapts, retreats, finds a new route south. April 3rd, 1367, Nájera. Enrique's army is bigger, but the prince hides his advance behind a ridge, appears suddenly on the Castilian left. The Spanish and French charge, disorganized, surprised. The longbow does its work. Enrique's men have never faced it. They break. The prince charges. Rout. Another complete victory. But Enrique escapes. Pedro is restored. And the bill? 400,000 pounds, an astronomical sum. Pedro promises to pay. Everyone knows he won't. By May, Pedro's dodging. By August, dysentery rips through the English army. And the prince? He catches it. Dysentery. In 1367, it's often fatal. He survives, but he never fully recovers. They return to Bordeaux in September, broken, bankrupt. The prince's health is shattered. And Pedro? He never pays. By 1369, Enrique invades again, kills Pedro. Castile is French. The prince needs money. He imposes the fouage, a property tax. The estates approve it, but the nobles, led by his old enemy, the Count of Armagnac, refuse to pay. Charles V sees his chance. He signs agreements with Armagnac, Albret, Périgord. He'll defend them, fund them, help them drive the English out. All they have to do is rebel. The prince's health worsens. He can't ride, can't tour his lands. His greatest weapon, his personal presence, is gone. And his friends start dying. Oddly, dead. Chandos, his most experienced captain, killed in a minor skirmish. The prince is losing everything. Fast. August 1370. Limoges falls. The bishop, a personal friend, surrenders to the French. The prince is devastated. Then, furious, he gathers an army, 4,000 men. He's carried in a litter because he can't sit a horse, but he's going to retake that city. September 19th. His miners breach the wall. The city falls. It burns. The bishop is brought before him. The prince tells him he deserves execution, spares him anyway. But French chronicler Jean Froissart writes that the prince massacred 3,000 civilians. It's a lie. The real number is closer to 300, but lies travel faster than truth. And then, the final blow. His son, his heir, dead of plague, days after Limoges. He decides to go home, to England, to die. January 1371. He leaves Aquitaine to his brother, John of Gaunt. By 1375, a truce is signed. England's French holdings are greatly reduced. Everything the prince fought for is slipping away. He spends his final years at Berkhamsted Castle. Dysentery won't kill him quickly. It just won't let him live. He's 45. He looks 70. His father grows old, falls under the influence of Alice Perrers, becomes unpopular. The prince, still beloved, still a symbol of better days, can do nothing. June 1st, 1376. He's carried to Westminster, one last time with his father. The old king weeps. The prince comforts him. Even dying, he's trying to be strong for others. June 8th, 1376. He prays. He dies. 45 years old. 9 years of illness. A lifetime of glory. Buried in Canterbury Cathedral, you can still see his tomb today. 1 year later, Edward III dies. England gets Richard II. 10 years old. The son the Black Prince never got to raise. Richard grows up divisive, deposed in 1399. The Wars of the Roses follow. England tear itself apart. Would Edward have prevented that? Maybe. He was a unifier, a warrior who inspired loyalty across factions. But he never got the chance. So, ruthless commander? Absolutely. The chevauchés burned France for hundreds of miles. Civilians suffered. His name is still cursed there. Chivalrous knight? Also, yes. He honored his enemies. He kept his word. He rose when he should have stayed down. His own surgeon called him the very flower of chivalry. Great king? We'll never know. But for 16 years, from a muddy ridge at Crécy to a captured king at Poitiers to a Spanish battlefield at Nájera, he was everything England needed. The Black Prince, England's greatest warrior, who never became king, but never stopped trying to be worthy of becoming one. What do you think? Ruthless raider or chivalric hero? Let me know in the comments section. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button before you go. Hoping to see you next time.